Well, good evening. I'm Pastor Lawrence from Northern Bible Church, and I'd like to give an update on returning to in-person worship. A lot of you are aware that we tried to return this last week and ran into a few hiccups, one of those being our sound system that has been fixed and actually improved. So not only do we have in-person sound, which is going to be good for that in-person service, we've also improved the sound for our live stream, so it should be higher quality as well as a higher volume, so that you don't have to turn it up so high. There were also other reasons, and the reason I'm putting this video out is to communicate those as well as to give you information regarding this coming Sunday. So this past week, there were a number of reasons we canceled service. One is we sort of rushed into getting back together. And what I mean by that is not that we had too great a desire to get back together. We did really want to be with you. The difficulty is with sound being out, we either had to modify service in a significant way, or worse, we would have just had service as usual and just excluded those people who couldn't or don't feel comfortable joining us in person. That's not the message we want to communicate to anyone. We recognize that every family, every person has to decide whether or not they feel comfortable coming back now or as the weeks progress. We don't want to force that decision on anyone. So we do apologize, and I personally apologize to anyone that was disappointed or hurt by that decision. But know that that was a decision made not for selfish reasons, but out of a desire for unity within the church. That's not mentioning a host of other reasons. I already mentioned getting together too soon. What I meant by that is simply that we didn't have enough time to get information out. Some people knew we were planning on having service, some people didn't, and I apologize for that lack of communication as well. This is a difficult thing. We're still figuring things out as we go, so please forgive us for that. Regarding this Sunday, we are planning to host service here at 10:30 a.m. We're going to gauge the size and decide whether or not we need to add another service later on. So please bear with us for that. We are trying as best we can to maintain those precautions that we mentioned previously last week. We'll list those again for you in the message that goes along with this, whether you're seeing this on Facebook or YouTube. Very simply, we're recommending masks. We're recommending that we use hand sanitizer. We're recommending and trying to do whatever we can to maintain social distancing. So that's limiting to 75 people for a service. That's making sure that our seats are spaced out so that people can sit that at least 6 feet distance apart. And then also at the end of the service, we'll be exiting through the side doors of the sanctuary, not back through the fellowship hall. So if it's cold and you bring a coat, just bear that in mind. But I don't think that's what the weather is going to look like. That being said, I don't think anyone needs to be in a rush to come back to in-person services. We are still the church, whether we gather in one building or in many. We are still the church, whether we can be all together and worship together or whether we're doing things separately. We are the church because we are in Christ. We're the church when we continue to do what Christ has called us to do, and we're the church whether in one building, like I said, or whether in homes, in communities, or in our streets where people are hurting for Jesus, where they're hurting for the justice that comes only from God. So we are excited for those who are able, willing, and feel comfortable meeting this Sunday. Just bear in mind, there won't be music, there won't be handshaking. We're encouraging people to not engage in those physical welcoming signs that we're so used to, whether that's handshaking, hugging. Paul said, greet one another with a holy kiss. We're saying maybe not in a pandemic, but hopefully this thing will be over soon. We'll go back to life as usual. But really it's our desire as a church and as elders that we're not just able to go back to life as usual, but that this is something that's been transformative for each of us, transformative for our church, and helps us to move forward in our mission to do what Christ has called us to do. So, as you're able, we'll see you back here at the church building. Otherwise, the live stream is going to be there each and every week. We're going to continue to serve one another. Small groups are starting within this week or next week. And if you haven't got connected in one of those community groups, get in touch with me or with one of the other elders, and we'll get you plugged in. So far, we've got 3, maybe 4 groups that are going to be kicking off pretty soon. So stay tuned for that. That's going to be exciting as we're able to take fellowship and community into those groups and grow deeper together, especially as we're starting our new sermon series on growing as disciples as we work through 1st, 2nd, and 3rd John this summer. So I'm looking forward to whatever God has for us next, and especially in these next few weeks. Thank you, and good night.